Oh yeah, my school is like Hogwarts. We do first year, second year, third year, fourth year instead of freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, so yeah, Hogwarts. Hi guys, it's Kimberly, and I thought I'd forge straight ahead from my last video that I just filmed and start filming my next video. This video is the 25 facts about me video. So I thought that this video would be a good idea to film right now just because I just made my channel and then you guys can get to know me a little better. So I have the list down here, so I'm just gonna look at that periodically, but then I'll expand upon it to you guys. Okay, so the first fact, I am 21 years old, almost 22 in about a month. I'm getting up there, about to graduate college. The thing is, usually people mistake me for about 6 to 8 years younger than I actually am. So yeah, people usually think I'm like 15. Someone even thought I was 14. There's all these stories. My sister's 3 years younger than me. My sister's coworker thought I was the younger sister by several years. Last month, when I was flying back to college, I kid you not, I'm a 4th year in college, the woman, she asked me if I was traveling alone because she thought I was a minor traveling alone and that I didn't look old enough to fly alone. By the way, you only have to be 15 to fly alone. My sister was sick and I bought her cough medicine and I got carded because they didn't think I was near old enough to be 18 because you have to be 18 to buy cough medicine, and yeah, I'm actually almost 22. So yeah, people mistake me for way younger than I am. I am 5'8.5". I'm a biology major. I love biology, and I am about to graduate from college as a biology major this year. I'm pre-med. I am hoping to go to med school in the next few years. Just gotta get in, that's the problem. But actually next year I'm hoping to be doing a master's program. I've applied to several. Some of them are in anatomy, some of them are in physiology or biomedical sciences, and they look really cool, so I'm really excited about that. I am a dancer. I've been a dancer all my life. I did ballet for years, and modern and jazz and all the different types, really, except for hip-hop. That's like, I don't do that. Yeah, actually about 2.5 years ago, I had a really bad knee injury that prevented me from dancing or running or doing a lot of things that I really enjoy. So that's something that I've been struggling with for the past 2 years. Okay, the next one is Spanish. I love Spanish. I have studied Spanish all throughout high school and in college. I've actually studied in Costa Rica doing a homestay. I lived with a family and went to Spanish school, and I volunteered in an orphanage there. I did that for 2 weeks. Twice during high school. And then after my first year of college, I spent the summer living in Guatemala. I was living with a Guatemalan family, and I was going to a Spanish school where I had classes for 5 hours a day, and I learned a lot about Guatemalan history and culture and politics and stuff, and that was really enjoyable. I also volunteered there doing several things like building stoves for people who have to cook over an open fire, which is kind of dangerous and wasteful, and also playing with the kids at the daycare center for kids of single moms, and I really enjoyed my time in Guatemala. It was really eye-opening and I learned so much about the culture, and my Spanish improved a lot. So Spanish is something I really love. As a side note, if you also speak Spanish, if you're a native Spanish speaker, or, I mean, if you're a native Spanish speaker and on booktube, you probably already know about this, but if you speak Spanish or if you're learning Spanish and you love booktube, you should check out Booktube en Español, because they have booktubers from Spain and Mexico and lots of cool places, and they're the same sort of videos that you love to watch all the time, but they're in Spanish, so you can practice your Spanish by listening to them. So yeah, I really like that. So maybe I'll link 1 or 2 of my favorite booktubers who do their videos in Spanish down below. I'm obsessed with psychology. I'm not a psychology major. I have a lot of interests and I had to choose one, and I chose biology. But I love psychology. I especially love thinking about how we think and how our minds work, and especially one of the things that I'm really interested in is personality theory. So I've studied a lot of Jungian psychology and the Myers-Briggs personality inventory. I've spent a lot of time studying psychology, a lot, on my own time, especially personality. I am an introvert. I might not sound it like on this video, but I am an introvert. If you guys know what the Myers-Briggs is, I am an INFJ. So in the Myers-Briggs there are 16 different types. I am an INFJ. I don't know if that will have any meaning to you guys, but if you guys know what that is, cool. The next one I talked about in my last video, mythology. I'm obsessed with mythology. I love thinking about myths and how myths came about and studying myths from different cultures all over the world, especially comparative mythology, thinking about similarities in myths and how those similarities came about, what can that reveal to us about the human condition, etc., etc. I love mythology. I have 2 younger siblings. One is my sister, who is 3 years younger than me, and my brother, who is almost 9 years younger than me. He's like my little baby. He's 13 this year. It's crazy. He's not allowed to be a teenager. He's not. Okay. If I could choose any power from the books I've read that I would want to have, I'm going to exclude a wizard from Harry Potter from this because they can do so much, right? I'm just choosing like a specific power that has been in a lot of books that I've read, which I love fantasy books. In case you guys didn't know, that is my favorite genre. I would choose healing. I would love to be a healer. That sounds amazing. I would be able to help people, and that's like my favorite power in every book that I read. The next fact. I am super sentimental about certain copies of books. So not just like the same edition in the same hardback of like Harry Potter, no. That book that I had, that I read the first time, and all the other times when I reread them all before the next book came out, that book I am sentimental about. And there's this really great Cornelia Funk quote which really explains what I'm talking about here. This is the quote. It is from Inkspell by Cornelia Funk from the Inkheart trilogy, which is Inkheart, Inkspell, and Ink Death. Those are some of my favorite books. They are great books for people who love reading because it is about a character who loves to read, and it's all about books. The quote is, "Isn't it odd how much fatter a book gets when you've read it several times?" Mo had said, "as if something were left between the pages every time you read it. Feelings, thoughts, sounds, smells. And then, when you look at the book again many years later, you find yourself there too. A slightly younger self, slightly different, as if the book had preserved you like a pressed flower, both strange and familiar." So that is from Inkspell by Cornelia Funk. I love that quote. It's one of my favorite books of all time, and my favorite quotes, and that really embodies how I feel about books. That specific copy holds all the memories from when I read it before, and so that's why one of the reasons why I'm like really antsy about lending out books, because no one takes care of their books like I take care of my books, and it stresses me out. Like and especially like my sister sometimes used to borrow books without asking me, or specifically if I told her not to when I was at college and she was at home, and it was horrible because I'm like worried about my Harry Potter books. I'm not there to guard them. It was bad. Anyway, so yes, I'm super sentimental about specific copies, not just specific editions, specific copies of my books, especially my favorites, especially Harry Potter. I love backpacking. I love the outdoors. I love hiking and backpacking. That is something I love to do. I haven't been able to do it as much right now with my knee injury, but I love it. I love to travel, especially in immersive environments like I talked about in Guatemala and Costa Rica. And also this past fall I studied abroad in Rome, which was awesome and I really enjoyed it. I also have a section for travel on my blog, which is in the link below, so you guys can maybe check out some of my experiences with travel that I really enjoyed, or places that I want to go. I struggle with perfectionism immensely. That is a huge problem for me. Sometimes I get so overwhelmed with what I have to do and I think it has to be perfect, so perfect that I can't even start on it. So it is huge for me that I started this channel and actually went through with it and didn't feel like, oh no, like I don't have that good of a camera or like whatever. No. I am just doing it. If I just do this, I've got it. The next thing is I love art. I love looking at art and I love drawing. I really love drawing, but again, the perfectionism comes into play. I am never taking an art class again because I can't meet the deadlines because everything has to be perfect and it takes me forever. Types of books I love to read. I love to read fantasy. I know I talked about this in my earlier video. Love it. All types of fantasy. Adult fantasy or young adult fantasy, and also some middle grade fantasy as well. But I also love other books. There's some classics I really love, and I don't read that many contemporary books, but I want to get more into it, so I'm really enjoying watching people's suggestions on other booktube videos of contemporary books that I should be getting into. I also love reading books to do with psychology and anthropology because those are some of my biggest interests. Okay, the next one is my parents used to, and still threaten to, take my books away from me and hide them. Yes, so I am very, 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 very obsessed with reading. And so growing up, my books would get taken away and hidden from me. Not like because I did something wrong, not always, well sometimes, but just because like I was reading too much and they thought that I shouldn't be reading that much, so they would take them away. Actually, sometimes I would be locked in my room, the door's locked and I'm reading and like I don't want them to come in and steal my book, and my dad and sister would come and break down the door, and my dad would like pin me down while my sister searched the room for where my book was because I had hidden it somewhere in there because I knew they were like about to break in. And so yeah, so it's like actually I'm obsessive and my books were taken away from me. But it's partly my parents' fault that I love reading because they love reading too. When I was younger and I went to the library, you know how they used to have, they probably still have, reading lists for teenage boys and teenage girls, or you know, middle school boys and middle school girls, they have those reading lists. I was always reading all the books off of the teenage boys list because the girl ones were like, I felt like they were always like the like cliquey ones that like in high school or whatever, and I don't care about those at all. That's like totally not me. So yeah, I was picking all the cool fantasy books off the teenage boys list. Surviving in the Wild and fantasy and magic and sword fighting and awesomeness. So yeah, so I was always picking them off the teenage boys list and not the girls. The last fact, which I already talked about, is that I, in the past, have put myself on a reading ban while at college, and I was really good about it for the first 3 years. Didn't read any books while at school, not counting vacations. When I was on break, of course I read, like I binge read. But when I was at school, I was really good about it for the first 3 years. Until this year. Disaster mode, epic disaster. I read 14 books within a week and a half. This all happened about 2 weeks before finals, when the last thing I should have been doing was reading. So yeah, lack of self-control. So hopefully I can control myself a little bit more on the books that I just ordered. We shall see. But anyway, yes, that is 25 facts about me. Sorry if the video is a little long. Yeah, if you guys have any questions, just comment below. And if you want to talk about anything, any book addiction stories you have, and I'll probably be uploading some videos very soon with some more funny stories about my book problems. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. Comment down below if you have any funny book addiction stories, and I will see you guys later. Bye!